time for me. Their eyes were all looking down at their numbers. And I said, stick 'em up, get 'em up, all the way up. This is a sticker. Stick 'em up, get 'em up, all the way up. This is a sticker. Stick 'em up, get 'em up, all the way up. This is a sticker. Stick 'em up, get 'em up, all the way up. This is a stick 'em up.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Learning 5's show match for EU. I'm Lol Meowing Cat, joined here by Penguin God, and we are going to be getting right into the game with Pick and Ban already starting up.
Yep, and I will give a little spoiler to the viewers. We do pro draft in as a tool beforehand, so that teams that just happen to have more champions in the enemy team don't get natural advantage that way. But we will see the bans that did come out showing up in this game. So that was Skarner, Aurelius, and Giovanni banned out by blue side, and Caitlyn, Galio, Swain banned out by red. I will mention that blue side is not the Golden Guardians or anything like that. No, they are the glorious capital of Skype, and red side is Warwick's Bizarre Adventure. What do you think? What do you think of the names of the teams? How do you think they're gonna match up?
I thought the teams were Greg and Creg versus Helpless Kitten.
They are. Um, Production crew has messed up. Never mind. It's fine. It's fine. We're good. It's all good. Production crew has heard it from the people. They have fixed it. They're all good. But anyway, we're gonna talk about the game now. Um, Sion versus Camille in the top lane. We have a nice. I think we have a nice matchup for Camille in that she's able to get her poke off very easily. She's able to get her easy engages off quickly enough and get out of there without Sion being able to do a whole lot. But Sion might be able to sustain himself through that lane if he maxes that shield. And then
Yeah.
Warwick versus Zac. I think it's heavily in favor of Warwick. Zac just kind of doesn't isn't able to do much against him, especially in the early game.
Yeah, well, I do want to jump back to that top lane matchup. A very interesting interaction is the Camille into the Sion ult. Post level 6, normally Sion is pretty safe in lane because if anyone, is bullying him a little too hard, he can always use that unstoppable onslaught and just run away screaming cowards, right? But the Camille actually can keep him locked in the Hexic ultimatum. And so if you have Warwick who pops the Blood Hunt, and then Sion's like, oh no, gotta run, you then have the Camille to lock him down. And so it's actually very hard for Sion to get away in this matchup. And with, the damage provided with Warwick and Camille, they should be able to take down this tank fairly easily. And so I'm going to have to see how KRR1 plays out this top lane matchup. Now shifting our gears down to the bottom lane, we actually have the Kai'Sa versus Xayah matchup with the Janna and Alistar locked in. Some interesting bot lane picks showing here.
Yeah, I will mention that Rakan was up, but Red Side opted not to take it. They opted for Alistar specifically. So I think that's very interesting on their part. Rakan and Xayah duo did get a little bit nerfed, so I can understand why they wouldn't want to go for that. But they went for it's still a strong duo. Okay, don't get me wrong. He still has the extra range on his dash. He still has a bunch of stuff that helps him out in this lane and in the game. But he does end up going for Alistar Xayah, which is still a good lane in its own right. Alistar just has some solid engage, and Xayah can follow up on that really well. But they are going into Janna Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa, from my experience, just wants to kite back and, do damage while running away. And Janna is similar. She wants to kite as well. She wants to just walk backwards and let you come at her. And if that's the case, amateur middle is going to have a hard time getting onto them at this point. But the 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 same stuff is going to want to come out of Xayah as well. She does very well as a champion when enemies are running at her and not away from her, and that's what Kai'Sa and Jin are going to be doing. They're going to be running away, or at the very least to the side. And so I'm not sure how Xayah is going to go into this matchup. But I think we should touch on the mid lane with Anivia and Xerath. The only thing I want to mention is this is probably going to be a snooze fest without jungle intervention.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much wave clear with these two picks. You know, you have the Anivia and the Xerath, who are both going to itemize towards very heavy mana builds. You know, you're probably going to see both of them pick up the tier at the very least Illudens, right? So they're going to have that 20% CDR as well as the mana. And then, you know, Anivia might even pick up a Roa on top of that. And so you're going to have just so much wave clear AP in that mid lane, just infinite mana as well, especially if they get the blue buffs handed off by their junglers at, you know, the 7-minute mark. And so I think there will be some kind of gank opportunity. I think Sertu on the Xerath actually needs to be a little more careful because of the Zac. I think Anivia is a little safer in that mid lane, especially because of the Warwick pick. He doesn't really gank that mid lane too well unless he has the ultimate, at which point the infinite duress will secure some decent ganks on the Anivia. But pre-6, I think that there definitely is an advantage for this Anivia-Zac duo.
I do agree. Anivia Zac does really well because Zac can CC the start the CC where Anivia can throw her ice stun in there and get a lot of damage off, wall them in, and stuff like that. But it all gets set up from the Zac engage. Anivia does kind of have a hard time doing it herself, but she does end up doing it fairly well on her own. So the Xerath is really going to have to. He kind of has two options. He can either sit back and just try and farm and get wave and get wave control, or you can try and poke out CWL's Anivia and make it so that Zac can't even come mid because CWL is just so low. I will mention though that the passive from Anivia is going to be a big factor, considering if Xerath pokes him out and does get the passive just out of nowhere, it actually helps CWL in that case, because that means that he's going to be back at full health for a while and not going to be able to be pushed out of lane as easy.
Yeah, definitely. Not too much follow-up damage after Xerath gets that initial burst. So definitely feeling already a little bit favor for this Anivia in the mid lane. But Xerath is still a very safe champion, and taking the cleanse, he should be able to get out of any kind of sticky situations. Now, I want to touch on this bot lane a little bit, because we already looked into it somewhat. I think that Kai'Sa has a lot of kill pressure, and so I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. But we're going to be right back, guys. We're going to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere, as we will get right into game with two teams that I do not know the names of. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our EU show matches for Learning Fives. I'm LolMeowCat, joined by Penguin God, and we have on the blue side Greg and Creg with KR R1 in the top lane, Z4 Arcos in the jungle, CWL in the mid lane, Jujavon on AD carry, and Haha 12 by the way on support.
The Summoner's Rift. 30 seconds until minions spawn.
And on the red
Yeah.
side, we have Helpless Kittens with Professor Oak at the top lane, Dewey in the jungle, Surtsu in the mid lane, Teoni in the bot lane, and supporting him as a sub is Amateur Middley on the Alistar in support.
Yeah. And mentioning the supports right now, I like the support itemization of the Janna running Spell Thieves into Alistar. You know, s- normally, supports, if you're ranged, you want to go for that coin, but into a melee matchup, if you run that Spell Thieves and you're playing aggressively, I think you can get a lot of extra gold and a lot of lane pressure with that. And so I want to see how this lane plays out.
A lot of Jannas run the coin. I think that can be a mistake in lanes where you think you're going to be able to poke out, especially when you're in a double range versus one range, one melee matchup. You can get a lot of gold off of that melee. You can just auto attack them a bunch. You can do anything you kind of want to them, and so you can get a whole lot of gold off them, even more than they're gonna get from the relic shield. More than you can likely get with your, with your coin. So I'm glad to see that itemization there. I know you always touch on that because you're a support main, but it's always a good thing to talk about.
Yeah. And another thing, I think that everyone opted into, probably the best potential starting items. I think Kaisa maybe could have went for a Doran's Blade instead, as I don't think she's going to be taking too much poke from the Zarya, and I would have liked to see a little more aggression. Maybe she could get some kill pressure on the Alistar, especially with that Janna. You see a little bit of poke coming out already.
Yeah, you saw how much damage Kaisa does early, so it you can see the effect that she has with the basically undodgeable Q that she's got going on. If you're in her range, you're gonna take some rocket damage. But Alistar taking so much damage early in this lane. He does kind of have a heal, so they're able to slowly sustain through this lane, but it isn't going to be as impactful as it could be if he was a sort of enchanter or a ranged support like a Lulu or a Karma or something like that. But we see kind of how that plays out. But Professor Oak taking some damage in the top lane here.
Yeah. Just to slide back onto that, impact on the bot lane, Amateur Middley opted into taking the exhaust against the Janna lane, so I feel like this Alistar isn't going to have much pressure with that.
No, generally you want to take Ignite against a team that doesn't really have a lot of well, in a bot lane where you're against Janna, you want to take Ignite so you can get kill pressure, but you also want to take Ignite when the enemy team doesn't really have any good exhaust targets. Yes, Jujavon's Kaisa is going to be a good exhaust target, but it won't be as good as some other targets. But Professor
it doesn't
Oak,
feel like enough to outweigh the, taking exhaust over Ignite here.
exactly. But Dewey's bot side and says hello and walks away. Zac is top
Up
though.
in the top lane though, yeah, we see Zarkos going in here, getting the last
But bot lane.
the stretching strikes. Now we see bot lane and first blood going over to Taeyeon. A lot of action up in the top lane too. The shout from the Silent is gonna whiff though, and Professor Oak will be able to escape with his life.
Yeah, if that had hit, that would have been a kill. But directed camera was kind of having a seizure there. Didn't know which lane to follow. I think yours was a little bit different than mine too, because mine immediately went to bot lane, and I think yours stayed at top lane for a little bit longer. But directed camera really showing its strengths there with that play. But we did get the first blood on a Teoni in the bot lane. That gank, it did amount to something, so that was good for them. They're going to try and push that in and get some minions under the tower so that they can back with their extra gold and have a nice time in this lane.
Yeah, and having a nice time in this lane is not what the Scion is really doing right now. He's taking a lot of damage. Opting into the Doran's ring start, he does get a little more damage and possibly priority with that. But Professor Oak is saying, I'm not having none of that, and going actually in, hitting the hook shot, and now getting the stun onto the Scion, going for damage, looking for the kill, going for the flash in, and getting the kill onto KRR1. Professor Oak solo killing under the tower, flashing the Mastery 7, and getting out with the kill.
Good kill by Professor Oak, realizing that he has an advantage, considering what happened there was he got ganked, he didn't die, so he backed, teleported in, and then in that time KRR1 didn't back and teleport in. He just stayed in lane at half HP and low mana. So Professor Oak was able to poke him down and get a kill on him really easily that lane. But Professor Oak isn't really able to buy anything major. All he bought was, it looks like a corrupting potion and a longsword. So I'm not sure burning the flash was worth it for that. But I mean, I guess if you're trying to send a message, that works.
Yeah, and I mean, he is also falling behind in CS on the Scion. The Scion clearing the wave with his Roar of the Slayer, as well as the Decimating Smash, just EQing the waves, clearing them out, getting all that CS, while Professor Oak is having a little bit of a tough time CSing. which, you know, Camille, she CSs pretty well, especially since she has an auto cancel on that Q.
Hmm.
A bit disappointing to see, but making up for it with that kill gold, and now looking to even double that potentially. Does have the Conqueror rune, is going to be able to proc it, but not keeping it up, so not as much damage onto KRR1, and KRR1 is just going to walk it off. But I'm a bit interested to see this Scion. He started with a Doran's Ring. He's also running Sorcery Primary, obviously, because he's going for the Arcane Comment and engage onto the bot lane. Ha, 12 by the way, getting out. Uses the flash though, and Amateur Middley getting some nice aggression down, however using his own flash. And you've got to wonder, if the Alistar took Ignite there, would that have been a kill onto that Janna?
I do think that would have been a kill. That would have been an extra like 200 damage, and enough to kill her very likely in that lane. So she did end up healing up afterwards with all the potions, but it's very likely that would have been a kill with an Ignite. Now the Exhaust CC hasn't even been used yet, so I'm not sure Exhaust is the right option there. But we see in the top lane that they're just still duking it out, and at the same time Professor Oak has caught up in CS. From the last time we mentioned the CS in the top lane, KR has only gotten like 3 or 4 CS, but there is a giant wave at his tower now, so he should be able to pick most of that up. I'm not too worried about his CS situation right now, but I will mention the CS situation for the bot lane is very much in favor of Teoni. He's kind of zoning Jujavon off of the wave here, and so, ooh, Amateur Nidalee going in.
Yeah, a lot of damage down on that Alistar though. And, you know, I do think that the Janna running Exhaust is a little more understandable because of Camille pick, but I honestly kind of wish that the Janna took Ignite as well. You have some early damage onto the Alistar. I feel like if she took Ignite, she could potentially look to all in with the Kai'Sa damage, especially because the Kai'Sa passive just melts through health bars.
Yeah, I agree. The Kai'Sa passive does very, very well, and so the Kai'Sa should be able to melt through the Alistar, and if they had Ignite, I actually saw Hot 12 by the way have Ignite for a good portion of the champ
Oh, look,
select.
in top lane, Dewey going in. Now top lane, Uxhar's Ultimatum was used by Professor Oak, and the Scion Unstoppable Chara Onslaught was actually blocked out, and that is exactly what we're expecting to see. Now Dewey looks like he's going to pick up the kill, and does look like he does, as there is just a pause going on for some reason. EU client is spaghetti for me right now. But
yeah.
KRR1 does not get the return kill, health bar's dropping low, and now actually bot side BC the Zac. Zarko's not going to be getting any ganks off though, as he is spotted by a Tribush ward.
That was a good ward in the Tribush. They recognize that Zarkos is going to want to do ganking stuff because he's a Zac, and he hasn't had a whole lot of pressure in this game so far. That kind of feels bad for a Zac, because his entire job in the early game is to get ganks off with that elastic slingshot and get early pressure, because otherwise he isn't going to be impactful in a game. He needs to do that, or otherwise he just isn't going to be a factor. Ooh, a lot of damage on Teoni there though.
Yeah, a lot of damage. Looks like Jujavon not having enough mana, plus not having the Ignite doesn't even give him the option to go in here. Although that Q landing onto Teoni might be enough. The exhaust coming out by Ha12 by the way. Teoni now exhausted up, looking for autos onto Jujavon. Jujavon still has both summoners up, uses a heal, not going to get hit by the Blade Caller because it is not used. Feather Storm also whiffing, and the Blade Caller does come out, but none of the feathers are going to connect. And Jujavon escapes with his life, only using the one summoner. 2 summoners used for this, the one used by Amateur Middley, only the exhaust there. And again, if that was an Ignite, that would have been a dead Kai'Sa.
Yeah,
Now
that would have
going
been.
Elastic Slingshot's not connecting.
Kai'Sa was real low there, and I'm telling you, I do agree with you on this Ignite topic. I think both supports could have done very well in this game. A lot of kills
look
happening.
At this, though. A bot lane dive potentially coming out. Teleport is up for Professor Oak, and KRR1 does not have the TP yet. Nope, not gonna happen.
A lot of pings going out to that bush by red side though, so they understand that CWL is roaming down there, so they didn't really want to go for it, but it looks like they might try it again. Dewey gonna fear onto Zarkos there, and that's gonna be about it, I think. Both teams really focus on this bot lane, understanding that top lane isn't really gonna do anything, but Professor Oak did fall behind in CS a little bit, considering he was down on that bot side for so long. He now has to walk all the way up there and pick up the rest of the CS that's up there, and that's going to be kind of tough for him at this point. He is about 15 CS down in this lane, and there isn't really a good way to make that up unless he pushes KR out of lane.
Yeah, and another thing, 12 by the way, not getting the support item upgrade means it doesn't matter at all, as the ultimate from the Warwick is actually going to miss. Janna uses a Monsu to push him away and secure some health onto his teammates. Now the Zac is here for the counter gank, and Jui is running for his life, queuing to the Crug and actually flashing out of the wall. Swift moves, but it might not be enough as the Nivea wall is coming out. He's going to be blocked up, the Nivea Q not connecting, however, and now CWL is out of mana, does pick up the kill with an auto attack. Now out of mana, this Nivea has to run for his life. Scrambling to get over a wall, not going to be turned into eggs today, as Lascon secures the exit.
Jui a little too far forward there, does try and dive in the tower, but misses his ult. Ooh, we're gonna go in top lane.
Yeah, KRR1 not going to be able to connect the decimating smash, and again, Camille has a pretty easy time just dodging that out, and she's having a pretty decent lane so far.
She does end up getting behind in CS a little bit when she roams, but that is kind of like a small consolation for KR here, considering he is some CS up, but that's about it. He's 2 kills down, 2 deaths, and so he doesn't have a whole lot of pressure in this lane. He's just kind of sitting up here farming up, hoping he can be a big old tank later in the game. And I'm not sure that that's exactly what Greg and Creg want from him. I don't know. They probably wanted him to push it in even more. Excuse me. And try and get more pressure on this tower with all the roams Professor Oak. But Professor Oak just has so much more map pressure than he does. Oh, the blue getting picked up by CWL there. That's really good for him. Means he doesn't have to go back at this point. I don't think he has enough for Roa at this point, and so he grabs that blue buff so he can stay in lane. He needs to at least get Roa.
Give him enough for a Roa.
Yep.
So after this wave, and if he can get that recall off, get that Roa pickup. And speaking of item pickups, if we turn our attention to the bot side, Isa actually selling her starting item, sitting on only the Gwynsu's Rage Blade, so she is a little bit weak, yet she does have a decent power spike here. It's a bit of a two-sided, a double-edged sword here, I think.
It really is. He sold that Norn's shield for Gwynsu's. I will mention he also has a health potion. That is a thing he has. It is an inventory. And so by literal terms, he does have 2 items. But anyway, he does only have a Gwynsu's. He doesn't have that extra health, that extra regen after he gets hit up. So he's not going to be able to sustain through this lane much anymore. So what he wants to do at this point is probably just get out of lane, push the tower down, and roam around. But that's likely not. It's not going to happen against Alistar and Xayah. They both, especially with a melee support who can just hit the minions and execute them to get gold. It's not going to happen. So I think that was kind of a mistake to try and get that. He could have just gone for some intermediate items and been alright. But it does get that Rage Blade. We'll have to see how Jujewon plays this out, considering he needs to play a lot safer now. Ooh, amateur middly. Getting pinged out by his AD carry there.
Yeah. Look at Jui in the top lane, though, sitting on this blast gun for a long time, very patient, waiting for KRR1 to walk forward. We're gonna have to see if this Warwick gank actually pans out up in this top side, as he is spending a lot of time up here, and if he spends too long, Zarkos in the bot lane can maybe get something down, especially with that vision being cleared out by Haha12, by the way.
Yeah, but I feel like Teone and Amateur Middley know that Zac is near bot side, considering he did just show top side a few minutes ago to grab that wave that bounced into tower and then backed. So they can probably guess at this point that he had just taken his top side jungle and then picked up that top wave farm. But they're going in bot lane.
Yeah, and while that whole shebang was going down to the bot lane, there's actually a Rift Herald being started up on the top side. Professor Oak and Jui starting it off. And now there's a just complete mayhem in the bot lane. Everything is going crazy. Haha12, by the way, actually gets picked up by Amateur Middley. Now Zac is going in for the kill onto Teone. Teone running for his life. Amateur Middley uses the Unbreakable. Has very low health though, but Jayvon has even lower, and he will actually drop over to Teone. Teone picking up another kill. Now turning his attention to Zarkos. Now it looks like the Zac passive will be tapped. And now a Nivea passive pop. Both those death passives might be enough to save them though, as Sion is here and actually picks up a kill onto Amateur Middley. However, it is not enough to save his Nivea, as he does go down. Zac does pick up the kill on Teone, however. Zarkos getting one for himself while being taken out by Surtsu. Now Surtsu turning his attention to KR1, and R1 is now being hit by the Infinite Duress. Everybody on that Sion, and he's just going to be gangbanged to death. That is not something you want to repeat, as that Sion is just very angry about that.
Yeah, so that was overall a 5 for 2. That was an extended ace for Team Helpless Kittens there. And so they're going to take this bot lane with the Rift Herald. That was a good job by all of Helpless Kittens roaming down there to assist in that gank. That would have been amazing for Zarkos there if they had gotten that kill and just been able to back away, but they weren't able to do that. Nice tornado hitting up Professor Oak at the end of his wall jump, but anyway, there. Overall, a 5 for 2, very, very good for Helpless Kittens there, putting a lot of gold in their pocket there now. About 4,500 gold in the lead, but Jewy's staying a little bit too long, getting his life taken away.
Yeah, just an overcommitment from Jewy there. And
He really
Jewy
wanted that
has
ward.
had very decent objective control, you know, getting that Rift Herald, getting that bottom tower because of it. Look at this gold advantage, you know, about
Yep.
a 4,000 gold lead for the side of Helpless Kittens, not so helpless now. But because of Jewy's overextension there, he's actually conceding this Earthquake, and his bot lane rotated up to the top side, almost being taken away. Nice try from Xerxes with the Rite of the Arcane, but just missing it by a few HP. Unfortunate there.
Yep, solid, but the Jewy does give up that objective, like you mentioned, because he decided to stay for that ward. The ward wasn't really the most important thing he could have stayed for. If that was just him grabbing some of the fruit and walking away, waiting to see if they started the dragon and potentially taking it afterwards, I can see that happening, but they didn't do that. He stayed there for too long, grabbed the ward,
Haas,
we're
by the
going,
way,
oh my
so low.
god.
He was coming out, and Professor Oak just deleting that Janna, saying, "Get out of here! That exhaust is going to do nothing for you. It's not available." And picking up the double kill onto the Kaisa too. Professor
Wow.
Oak just going crazy on this Camille. 4-0 and 3. By far the most gold on this team, and just completely showing up on this Camille pick.
That was absolutely shocking how much damage the Camille did there. I don't think I've seen any other champion do so much damage in such a short period of time that wasn't an assassin. Keep in mind, Camille's like a bruiser, brawler, like 1v1er. Like, that is kind of what she's supposed to do, but she just kind of melted Janna there, and there wasn't anything that she could do.
Yeah, the Janna's so squishy right now. No kinds of defensive stats whatsoever that would help against the Camille. And the exhaust was on cooldown. No Monsoon either. No flash. Just really unfortunate situation for her. She was guaranteed dead. But Kaisa, a little late to turn around there, meant that 2 kills actually went over instead of just the Janna. And so that's, you know, very good for Professor Oak. With that Triumph getting a little extra gold for himself, gonna be pretty happy with that one, as he is getting a lot of damage on this Camille now.
Yeah, the Triforce, he's gonna go for Titanic Hydra, pretty quick after.
Maybe even a Ravenous.
A
with
Ravenous
the Vamp
Hydra,
Scepter.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. I didn't spot the Vamp Scepter there, so it is likely gonna be a Ravenous Hydra here. But I will mention that Haha 12, by the way, has built a Dark Seal in this lane. I'm not sure that was the best choice for him, considering they weren't getting early pressure, they weren't getting early kills, and so I'm not sure that a Dark Seal was probably the best purchase for him. He should have just gone for a support item, trying to grab more gold, so he can get things like a Redemption and Ardent Censer in his pocket that can help his AD carry, but he was a little greedy there. Maybe it was kind of like the solo queue mentality of, this is what I build every game, and it works every game, so I'm just going to build it. But you really have to, in these 5 games, in these 5v5 matches, you kind of have to adapt to the situation a lot more. It's not solo queue where everyone's going to play around, are going to play differently. Often teams have a lot more coordination, even with a sub. So
Yeah, I think that she actually backed with about 350 to 400 gold, so she couldn't pick up the support item upgrade, but she could have just went for boots and a pink ward or something. So still a bit confusing to see that, especially when behind. But Zarko's even further behind as he's just getting deleted. The shield is actually going to come out and block that red buff damage from the Warwick. Not able to pick up the kill, and Zarko's barely making it out of his life. However, it looks like he's going to be conceding his red buff unless KRR1 has something to say about it. Rite of the Arcane is actually going to be used, and Janna very low health. Camille not picking up the kill quite there. Not deleting her this time, but Jewy on a ward, being spotted out, looking to pick up that red buff, does have the smite up. KRR1 is not going to be able to stop that, and Jewy secures the red buff, turning his attention to the mid lane with the rest of his team, and they are sieging down this tower now.
and they're likely going to get it with Xerxes being able to poke out the enemy, and he does have so much mana rage, and I think he did go the super mana Xerath build, where you go mana of the land and presence of mind. so that you just every time anything ever happens, you get mana back. Like he gets auto attacks back, or he gets mana on autos as well. But the wave clear coming out from CWL is absolutely massive. But he does not have infinite mana, and so it's going to be harder for him to stay in this lane. But the tower is likely going to go down. Look how much Surtsu is just poking this lane. That is shocking how much he's able to just charge up those abilities, do some damage, wave clear. Oh, Professor Oak going in. Mistake by him.
I can't quite see what's going on, but I'm very certain that it's a very actionable fight as Camille is very strong and there is just complete mayhem going out. Penguin, okay, nope, CWL is now actually being taken out by the Red Arcanum. Teoni is very low on the Kaisa, but picking up the kill onto CWL, and there is actually a complete ace as I've missed all of that action. Thank you, Spectator Client, for that one.
Thank you, Spectator.
Yeah, Helpless Kittens picking up the ace there, going 3 for 5, and they're going to be happy with that one, as they're going to be able to pick up a lot of gold, as well as another tower afterwards, as their carries are still alive.
Yeah, they're able to pick up 2 towers. They did trade 2 kills for Professor Oak and Amateur Middley there. That was sort of worth because they do get a shutdown on the Professor Oak, so that was pretty good for them. But okay, you just one more
12
auto.
by the way, so low. This Xerath doing massive damage, and he only has his Archangels right now, or Seraph's Embrace, excuse me. It has been fully upgraded. And you know, I want to touch on something. The mana flow rune has been changed, so it doesn't give free spells as well as, you know, mana refund anymore. It now, on hit, every 20 or so seconds, you can
15.
hit and get a proc, and you 15 seconds, excuse me, and you will get that proc that gives you 25 permanent mana, and then after you get 250 permanent mana, which is 10 procs, you will then get the percent missing mana regen, similar to the old Vagar or old Chalice passive, if anyone remembers those. So a lot of mana cessation.
Old Vagar passive. Oh my god, that's been so long. Meowing Cat.
Yeah,
like,
it's been a while.
that's
But another
like
thing that's
5
being a
years.
while is a team not having Vision of Infernal Drake, as there's Helpless Kittens are just taking complete control over this. And I don't know who wants to do it, but Greg and Creg, one of those two needs to get some more vision on this, because giving over free Infernals is not something you want to be doing, as the next Drake is also going to be an Infernal. They need to make sure they don't give up 2.
Yep, that wasn't Infernal going over, but I will mention also that Presence of Mind was also changed. It now doesn't give you essentially infinite mana for 7 seconds after getting a takedown. It refunds 20% of your mana, and then gives you 10% cooldown reduction or cooldown refund on your ults for every takedown. And so
Yeah, and I really like Presence of Mind. I think that it's actually a very underestimated rune, and something that is a little underestimated here that we haven't been talking about is Professor Oak. He's just getting so much control of these objectives.
yeah, he's able to push like pretty much anyone that comes his way out of lane without much effort at all. And so he is 4-1-4. He has a lot of gold in his pocket. The Helpless Kittens are 10,000 gold in the lead at 23 minutes, 24 minutes now, cresting that mid-game point. And I don't know, it feels unwinnable for Greg and Creg, but there have been some fights where Professor Oak just kind of goes in and dies. And so if he gets a little too hyphy and his team doesn't follow up on him, I think there is a way that Greg and Creg can win this game if they focus him out and are able
And look
to.
at this Baron startup. Helpless Kittens, a little bit risky here. 24 minutes in. Camille a little bit low in health. Now Amateur Middley going to try to stall them out. I am completely unable to see anything again. I think this happens every single team fight. I'm very excited about this. Penguin, you?
Yeah, we see here Kaisa grabbing 2 kills, gonna get the kill on the Amateur Middley as well. Does go over to Kaisa, the triple kill. Baron Call not doing very well for Helpless Kittens there, and they're gonna turn on it now. That was kind of a big throw by Helpless Kittens. They just kind of took so much damage from the Baron that they weren't able to take the fight. That blue team has slain the Baron.
Yeah, and it actually is secured by Haha 12, by the way, on the Janna. So Zarkos a little iffy with the smite. You got to be careful, especially, you know, with the Xayah or the Xerath. They can always try to go for a long-range snipe steal, or just the Feather Blade Collar combo.
The Surtsu could have gotten that Baron if he was around and had vision of it, but he didn't. So yeah, that was kind of a big throw by Helpless Kittens there. They now put Greg and Creg on the map with 3 kills and a Baron. Now they're only about 6,000 golden lead. That was about a 4,000 gold swing after that Baron fight. So, and so much of that went over to Javon's Kaisa there, and that means that she's gonna be able to get so much more damage in these fights with the items she's gonna be able to get. I think she's going for the sneaky. I'm gonna get all of my upgrades all at once build. With
Well,
the
he actually didn't. He would have went for a Nashor's
Right,
after
yeah.
the Death Stance, and he went first out of Guinsoo's. So normally it's Death Stance into Nashor's Tooth into the Guinsoo's Rage Blade, and then you get all 3 upgrades when you pick up that Guinsoo's Rage Blade. But opting into a bit of a variation of that, and actually not picking up the Nashor's at all, so not going for that W upgrade, actually going for the Runons, it looks like. And I do really like Runons on Kaisa. I think it's a very good upgrade, or sorry, a very good item for her because of the passive procs. Procking multiple at once, it's so good. But he is
Yeah.
going to miss out on a little bit of that burst damage because of that W upgrade missing out, as well as missing out some of that Nashor's on-hit damage. And Nashor's and Guinsoo's together are so good, especially on Kaisa because she has so many AP ratios.
Yeah, Natur's just so good, and it's likely going to be a Hurricane coming up next, but I would be disappointed if we didn't see Natur's coming up after that. It's kind of sad that it comes in later in the game, and a pause coming out. Hello.
Wouldn't be learning 5s without a pause, but
Mhm.
it gives us time to dive into that Kaisa build a little bit more, so continue on that.
Zarkos looks like he was lagging a little bit, so he's likely going to disconnect and reconnect to the game. But we can mention the Kaisa a little bit here. The build he's currently going for is kind of like the typical like sit back, sustain through fights and auto attack build, whereas the I'll get your all upgrades build is the scrappy build where you want to be able to get rotations of your spells quickly and easily. And I'm not quite sure which one is better quite yet. I don't have a whole lot of experience with that, but the Kaisa is still going to be able to sustain through these fights with that Death Dance, and Guinsoo's doing very, very well at that as well. I will mention though that Hotwell, by the way, has picked up the Ardent Sensor, so that's going to do very well. If he can get that shield on Jajavon and have that last for a little while, Jajavon's going to be able to just kind of melt the rest of the enemy team. I will point out that Surtsu is 5-0-3, kind of flying under our radar as far as the good players go, considering we've kind of been talking a lot about Professor Oak and Tayoni. Surtsu has just shown up at this point in the game. He's got 5 kills. He is even on CS with an Anivia, and that's saying something because Anivia is well known for getting a lot of CS in lanes and kind of outclassing the enemy. And we do end up falling out of the pause, which is a good thing for us. And so Surtsu kind of like flying under our radar as far as players to watch in this game, and I feel like that was a mistake on our end, considering he's doing so well at this point. He's got a Sarah. Oh, and 12, by the way, is dead.
Yeah, Zera's doing so much damage to 12, by the way. That Janna almost taken out, but popping the Monsoon, gonna heal her back to full. And now Kaisa diving in with the rest of that front line. Does actually get Surtsu, and that dive from that 80 carry is so strong. And now the burst damage going on to Middley, and Alistar just dropping like a rock. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And, well, Amateur Middley fell really hard there. Professor Oak now trying to defend. I can't see what's going on again.
Chewie trying to defend it as well, but just dies, and the triple kill going over to Kaisa. The turret goes down. They're going to grab this second turret as well with the Baron buff. They're probably going to be able to get inhib as well. There's 20 seconds on each member of the Helpless Kittens. I don't think they're going to go for the game here, but they can easily get an inhib off of this.
Yeah, and they might even look to potentially end the game. There is only Tayoni, but they're not going to overcommit, just getting that inhib and rotating towards bottom side, which is, you know, they're just going to clear out. They're going to set up vision, get those exit wards, and then just go reset, clear those side lanes, because they're actually pushed up way to their base. So, not going to be any more siege with that, but that's... I think every time there's a massive throw, my client just lags a little bit. It just doesn't want me to watch it.
It doesn't want you to think this is what you do in League of Legends, but the interesting thing is they did get that mid lane pressure, but bot lane was losing so hard early. The bot lane turret has barely been touched. They haven't gotten to get to that yet, and they haven't been able to put a lot of damage on that yet, even with this Baron buff. So they need to get to that if they're going to try and push multiple lanes, and they need to try and grab at the very least an outer turret. It's very important for them to get, which allows them to rotate in a better fashion. It opens up the map so much for them, but the dragon's up in 15 seconds, so there is going to be a fight over this. I can feel it. But there is that, you see that pink ward over in the bot side jungle that's been there for a very, very long time that isn't doing anything right now. The
Yeah,
point of the
Infernal
game has
Drake's gonna
changed.
spawn up soon though, so you gotta be a little careful. It looks like Dewey popping the W, looking for that blood scent, sniffing out the enemies, but not gonna want to run in 1v5. Pretty smart by him there. Now
force
turning
it
that
down.
Infernal Drake, and it looks like they're just gonna lose another Infernal Drake. No, going for the steal, but it's gonna be secured by the Zaya with the Blade Caller, and Dewey missing the Infinite Duress onto the Zac. Excuse me. Zarkos now looking to turn it around, and the Silence is gonna come out, gonna whiff though, going right past Dewey. KRR1 just going a little too far, but he's gonna make it back in and actually secure the second kill onto Amateur Middley for CWL. And again, every time Helpless Kittens go for an objective, they just lose immediately afterwards, or they don't even get the objective.
Yeah, that is some 25-second death timers on their side, but 2 kills going over, and it was kind of worth it. But
Are they looking for the end?
They might be. Professor Oak was bot side, and so they're probably gonna look for it with the super mini in the mid. I'm not sure if they can get it though with Taoni
There's a lot
still
of
alive.
wave clear.
Yeah, this was kind of a mistake by them. They could have gotten bot side. There was a huge wave of the tower. Professor Oak gonna try and go in and stop them, and he does end up getting taken out.
No, actually turning it around, getting the kill onto Jujavon before dropping himself. And now the Zac actually getting the passive pop. And this is a complete turnaround. Now Amateur Middley trying to stick onto that Janna. The Silent Decimating Smash does not connect. And Alistar popping the Unbreakable a little bit late, but the stun from the Xerath coming out. Sertu going crazy on this Xerath. And actually going to pick up the kill on KRR1 eventually. And Anivia going to be able to scrap it out and get away herself. But that is, again, just another throw. 3 kills going over for just Professor Oak, and an overcommit for a base when you're against a Xerath and a Zaya with so much wave clear.
Yeah, they didn't recognize that it was Zaya and Xerath up with so much wave clear and poke. They were absolutely not going to be able to take that base. And they had, at that point when they won that dragon fight, they had a huge wave bot side. They could have grabbed that tower, and they probably could have grabbed the inner tower as well, but they didn't. They just decided to greed for the game, and it makes the game drag on even longer for us. And they just didn't respect the damage coming out of Sertsu and Taoni there, and that was a big mistake by them. Now they're gonna send their bot lane toward their bot lane duo towards the bot lane to try and grab that tower, but Professor Oak is there to match them. He hasn't had an impact for quite some time though. They're able to Greg and Creg are able to kind of burst him out and not let him sustain through fights. He does have that Ravenous Hydra now, but man, that was kind of a huge mistake by Greg and Creg, and I'm so focused on that because they had free objectives bot lane they could have taken without risking themselves, because the super minions were heading towards the base. They had to, Sertsu and Taoni had to clear them out anyway, and so taking that out was pretty big. But Baron is up at this point, so we're gonna have to see a fight gonna be coming around this, and I know that both teams recognize it's gonna happen. So Professor Oak gonna try and poke out.
Hookshot not gonna connect. And now looking to Joe for a bit of a duel. KRR1 perfectly fine. Hextech Ultimatum is available, however, though, so it has to be a little bit wary. Baron is spawned up now, and there is a bit of a vision war going on right now. Both teams kind of just playing chicken, as they're not playing chicken whatsoever, melting that Baron down with the Kaisa damage. Now it will actually be secured by the Anivia. These smites are not coming out from the Zac, but it doesn't matter. The team is the smite, and their health bars are going away, though. A bit too slow on that. And Taoni picking up a double kill, taking out the entire team. And what are these Barons? KRR1 now trying to get a kill to try to make up for it, but I don't think it matters. They can't go mid lane, though. They don't have any minions.
No, they can't really do anything. They don't have minions in the mid lane. I mean, I guess
They could go
can,
bot lane.
They can go bot lane, but there's a Baron buff on the side on the bot lane, but they can probably get an inhib in the bot lane, and Taoni's going to protect the mid lane so their towers aren't going to go down. And the inhib is up, so there are no more super minions in the mid lane. That's kind of a good time for them to turn this around and try and get this this inhib. But what?
Something to point out is they sent their ADC to recall. They didn't have Sertsu go wave clear or somebody else. You know, send Professor Oak with his TP, just make him recall, send them all bot lane. And so because of that, they can't really go for anything more than an inhib because they just don't have the damage to follow up on those towers. However, they do get most of those Baron buffs off.
The death timers were also not very long, so they aren't able to get a whole lot out of this. But Dewey, again, staying for something extra after they're already all leaving. That it is kind of the song and dance of this game. Is something happens, an objective gets taken, then Dewey stays for something small extra and then dying. That is why he's 2-6, and that's something that he can improve on. But yeah, the getting that bot inhib is really important, considering it's gonna make it even harder for that bot lane turret to go down. Even if there is a few kills going over, they still have to push towards the super minions. So yeah, this is rough. This is very rough for both teams.
Yeah, and I want to just point out something. If we look at the AD carries, you have the Kaisa, who is extremely strong. We all know how strong she is in solo queue.
She did
Even
build
in
Nashers.
competitive, she's becoming more popular. And yeah, she goes for the Nasher. So even though the build was a little bit changed, in the build path itself, which might be a bit questionable, the same 4 core items were picked up anyways. And so, you're always going to get that Death Stance into Nashers, Gwinsus, and then you have the Hurricane. And this is like her core build. This is the ideal Kaisa build where you get so much damage, a lot of utility from that 30% CDR, and the Alistar looking for the Anivia, but gonna get stopped by a stun. Nice Flash Frost by the Anivia. Gonna secure her life. But these AD carries are so strong. You have the Kaisa. Obviously very good, right? Her build, we like that. I'm very happy with how she ended it. But the Xayah, I think we've been sleeping on her a little bit. She's got a nice vow from the Alistar. She's got her ultimate for the self-peel. She's got damage onto the Scion and now looking to actually kill. Getting the root, getting the stun, and it's actually going to be enough. KRR1 gonna drop. Professor Oak, however, getting really low. Does have the Sterix Gauge pop. And now a 3-man Blade Caller stun coming out from the Xayah. Again, Tyone really good with those roots. But Professor Oak going a little too hard. However, now Turret Aggro going over to Amateur Middle, having the Unbreakable to tank it up. Not going to worry too much about it. Dewey going a little bit hard on that Warwick and now getting really low. But should be able to walk it off. However, has to be a little bit cautious now. Oh, that is just Xerxes sniping out Haha 12, by the way. That is very sad.
Yeah, Suritsu, like I mentioned earlier, Suritsu is getting those pokes off very, very easily. He's got the Seraph's Embrace, he's got the Rabadon's Death Cap, he's got the Leandri's. He's got so much damage at his fingertips ready to go. Able to kind of two-shot everyone on the enemy team until they grab the second inhib. We see the team fight coming out from Team Helpless Kittens is a lot better than Greg and Craig's, but Greg and Craig was able to pick up a few good fights and grab some objectives and keep them in this game, but ultimately it feels like they're going to end up losing anyway, as it feels kind of bad for them considering they put up such a good effort and a good fight. It was just that one reverse Baron throw. They did the classic curse Baron throw, where they thought they had the lead, they went for Baron, took a lot of damage and then died for it, so they just stayed a little bit too long for that Dewey, gonna stay for a ward, and so the next Drake is the Elder. 2 Infernals on this side of Team Helpless Kittens is gonna be pretty big for them to get the Elder on, and I don't know if they're gonna start it up quite yet. Oh, Totswell, by the way, getting taken out immediately.
Yeah, having a bit of spectator issues, but that kill just immediately blowing her up, and a second kill going over to onto Zarkos. That is just overstepping for vision control, and you don't have to go for that Elder Drake if you don't have the proper setup. And because of that improper setup and improper execution, they give over 2 kills, which might actually cost them the game. Super minions coming in with them on that bottom tower. They also have the top lane, which will eventually have super minions building up. But you have to watch out for this execution. Ha, 12 by the way, using that redemption, but it's not going to hit at all. And Jujavon getting completely destroyed. Now KRR1 getting killed. And it is just everything going wrong. Now the base is being destroyed. And they're just zoning them off in the fountain. And that will be game number 1 going over to Helpless Kittens.
Yep, that is game going over for them, and they're able to get that going for them. They do get the kill, a good job on them, but that was kind of rough for the side of Greg and Craig there. They got the throw from Helpless Kittens, they took advantage of that, and they were able to get some objectives there. They closed the gold lead, they closed the gap, but overall it ended up being a win for Team Helpless Kittens there, and we'll have to see how Greg and Craig change up their game plan in game 2.
Yeah, and with that, don't go anywhere, as we will be heading over to game 2, because this is an exciting match. You're going to want to stick around and catch that, as this is a best of 2 series, and we'll see if Greg and Craig can tie it up, or Helpless Kittens is going to take the win. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our EU Learning 5 show match. I'm Lamian Cat, still joined by Penguin God, and we're getting right back into the action with Helpless Kittens on the blue side versus Greg and Creg now on the red side. And getting right into this pick ban, what are your thoughts on the last game and heading into this one? Spoilers. Hello, sir. I think this matchup would be a lot more interesting if we could hear you talk about it because your mic is apparently muted. Um, but
I'm back.
as I've been talking to myself for the last 1 minute or so, um, you guys didn't hear the spoilers, so don't worry about it. There's some picks we're gonna see in a little bit. We'll touch on those again. But already flying through pick ban real quick, we see top lane Cho'Gath versus GP, and in the mid lane a Veigar pickup for CWL. So do you wanna go in on any of these picks?
Vigar versus Vladimir? You mean?
Or in the top lane, the GP versus Cho'Gath matchup. That one's also,
I'm a
something we
little
should touch on.
more experienced in the mid lane matchup here, so I'll talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
I do play quite a bit of Vigar, and I can tell you right now that the matchup into Vladimir is just god awful. You can't really poke him out of lane like you want to. You can't really burst him like you want to. The two options for Vigar are to either build enough AP to one shot someone, or poke them out until you can do that. But with the puddle coming out from Vladimir, there's almost no way that you can do that on the Vigar, and so it's kind of a bad matchup for him. And also, if Vladimir gets on you, you just kind of die because you don't really have a way to protect yourself, unless of course he sanguine pools onto you, in which case you can stun him up. But even then, it's still rough for him in the early game. So we do now see the bot lane matchup of Kai'Sa Alistar versus Tristana, and I think it's Sona. Yeah, it is Sona. And so this is going to be kind of like a sustain lane for Jajavon and Haha 12, by the way. They kind of wanted to sit back, farm up, push the lane out, where Teoni and Amateur Middley are just gonna try and engage on them with as much damage as they have early. And so Amateur Middley getting that Alistar again, I do feel like that's something they could have banned out. I don't think they needed to ban out either Sejuani or Aurelia in this case. So I think they could have replaced the Alistar ban. Alistar was very impactful in Game 1. And so taking that away for Game 2 would have put Amateur Middley on something that he probably isn't as familiar with. It seems like he's extremely comfortable in this Alistar, willing to pick it up every time he can. And so putting him on something else would have meant that he isn't as comfortable, he isn't as willing to go in and engage, and he could have not been able to match the Vigar Gangplank damage coming out. But that's something that I will mention, is the amount of damage coming out from Greg and Creg is just absolutely disgusting. Gangplank crit barrels, Vigar just one-shotting someone, Tristana able to auto-attack people to death. Like, this is going to be a match and a game full of damage for Greg and Creg, whereas Kittens don't have as much damage. They do have the Cho'Gath Feast. Vladimir does do quite a bit of damage, and Kai'Sa does do a lot of damage, but it's not going to be as like scary bursty as Greg and Creg has. The Primordial burst and the barrels coming out are just going to be the most shocking thing that I think is going to happen in this game.
Yeah. And something I want to go back to that we saw last game. Alistar does not have Ignite against a healer support. Again.
Hmm.
I just with Tristana, you have a lot of mobility on her. She's a fairly safe champion, you know? She can get away from this Alistar pre-6 because of her rocket jump. If Alistar combos in, she can buffer her W while she's CC'd. She can then jump out. If she messes it up though, she will be heavily punished, so that's always a little bit wary. But if you're against Sona, she is extremely weak early game now. She's not the same kind of poke sustain champion she used to be. Her early game is a lot worse. And so, that's kind of why she's fallen out of priority, for the Janna, for the Nami, is because her healing is not very much. High mana costs, low value. You have the damage of her Q, which is just very mediocre. Janna does more damage with her W than the Sona Q. So you have this weak early champion in the Sona, and you're still opting to take the exhaust after last game when you were feeling the effects of not having an Ignite, when you miss out multiple kills. And so, especially with the Kaisa, where you're going to want to dive in and play aggressively, not taking the Ignite there just seems like even worse than last game.
Mm-hmm. Ignite is such a strong summoner spell for supports to take, especially when they're going to want to play aggressive. Alistar likes to take Ignite because he does do a lot of damage early and he's able to secure those kills better. But I will make a case for the exhaust. It does kind of reduce a lot of damage going to come out of this Fygar. If you can reduce the amount of damage that he does by 20%, that's super, super good. Like, when you're promoter bursting someone for 1200 damage, if you can reduce that by 20%, that's a good like 300 damage you're taking away from him. So I will say it can have a good effect, but I think early on Ignite would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that one. And hopefully we can still see some aggressiveness coming out of that bot lane. And I definitely think we will be seeing aggressiveness coming out from these from these solo lanes. However, I do think that in the solo lanes, Greg and Craig do have the advantage up on that top side with the GP into the Cho'Gath, unless Cho'Gath gets snowballing somehow. And in the mid lane, Sertsu should just have a field day against CWL. So I'm going to be interested to see those lanes play out. As we're going to go to a quick break, don't go anywhere, as we're going to load into the game, onto the Rift, with Craig versus Helpless Kittens.
There's no deeper love, oh baby. 'Cause there's no deeper love than what we're feeling. There's no deeper love.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Sounds of the Rift signal that we are in game, and we are finally getting to witness the second match of Greg and Craig versus Helpless Kittens. I'm Lol Meowing Cat, still joined by Penguin God, and going straight into these teams on the blue side, we now have Helpless Kittens with Professor Oak on the top lane, Dewey in the jungle, Sertsu in the mid lane, Tioni on the AD carry, and Amateur Middley on support.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah,
You can't milk those.
and then you have just CWL going, "Is that a short joke?" in the comms the whole time. Oh, Professor Oak finding CWL here. He's going for the Spire, but getting a little more than he bargained for. The Vorpal spikes are coming out, and a lot of damage going on to CWL, but Sertsu was AFK in the mid lane, so nothing's really going to come of that.
Yeah.
However, CWL is actually going to be late to lane. That's actually huge. He's going to have to recall TP back in. That's a TP advantage, just blown completely. Sertsu now with the summoner lead in this mid lane.
That's true.
Great by Professor Oak there.
That's true.
But, oh, never mind. I brain life for a second. Dewey starting the Raptors, though. It's a little bit interesting on the Skarner. Doing it a little bit slow, and has to be careful for that big Raptor to reset. Oh, bot lane flash already blown by Ha12, by the way. And imagine if Alistar had Ignite.
Yeah, just imagine. That would have been a kill.
Yeah.
Easy
And
game.
I mean, Sona is definitely above the curve of, Ignite death range, but with that Ignite coming out, it signals your ADC to go in. It's going to deal more damage, and if there's more damage on a target, Kaisa will do more damage, and she's doing more damage right now, and she's going to get a passive proc, and the W is going to pick up the kill. Tioni getting first blood onto Ha12, by the way.
Good job, Teone. Holy cow. Getting an easy
Well, no,
kill.
holy Kaisa. The cow was the one that set it up.
You can't milk.
Hey, Meowing Cat.
Yes, good sir?
I hate you.
Can't milk.
Continue with your point, though.
So, I don't remember what my point was. You just threw it off.
Well,
I was gonna make
something
some
thrown
point
off a little bit there. Haha 12, by the way. Just so mispositioned against the Alistar. You have to respect him. He didn't even run the Ignite, and he still was punishing you. You just gotta respect that cow.
Milk those.
Yeah, the amateur middle lane does have a lot of damage on the Alistar. The base damages coming out are pretty high, so able to get the kill on the Hot 12, by the way, and he's just not respecting the damage coming out. But in the top lane, KR taking a lot of damage from the minions and the AoE damage from Professor Oak, so good on Professor Oak in this lane. But excuse me, God. Professor Oak did take Aftershock, and that's kind of rough for him. It is going to give him some resistances when he normally wouldn't have any, but that's still going to be hard for him, because it's hard for him to proc Aftershock without being heavily reliant on hitting that knockup. But yeah, it's going to be rough for both of these players in the top lane. I don't expect a lot to happen. Oh,
I'm a
Jujavon.
little... Oh, yeah. Action down in the spot lane again. Jujavon getting a lot of autos in and getting some damage onto Talioni. However, the E is not going to stay on, and so Explosive Charge not doing that much damage. You still have to watch out, though,
Oh,
as
KR.
this Tristana can definitely reset. And Professor Oak going for the kill into KRR1, getting really low on that GP, and getting hit by the sun, but flashing forward and picking up the kill with the minion assist. KRR1 getting that grass proc, saying goodbye to the Skarner, as he has just given over a kill and double buffs to that GP.
Good job on KR there to grab that. I don't know. I think Chewie got kind of stuck in the minions there. He tried to go for the E, wasn't sure if he was gonna go for the stun there, so he kind of shook a little bit. Wasn't sure what was going on, and then got hit by the tower once. The minions took a lot, gave him a lot of damage, and then KR flashing, shooting him in the face, and getting some assisted by the minions, grabbing that kill up for himself. That ends up making it a 1-for-1 overall in this game, where Team Helpless Kittens has the overall advantage. The CS in the bot lane is mostly where this happens. There is a little bit of CS lead for Surtsu in the mid lane on the Vladimir, but that isn't really anything major. But there's a 10 CS lead in the bot lane. Jujavon super far behind at this point. There's something interesting to think about, though, in the mid lane, that CWL was late to lane because he had to back and teleport in. And so Surtsu hasn't pushed that advantage very hard in this lane. I think he just wants to play passive and do kind of Vladimir things and just kind of scale up a little bit. I feel like Vladimir is one of those champions where he just kind of sits for 3 items and then kills everyone.
Yeah, he scales extremely strong with items, and you know, Vladimir now has a lot of different itemization paths. I've seen a lot of Vladimirs actually opt into taking the Shirelia's Reverie on the Vladimir just because the stats it gives, he can utilize everything so well. And think of it kind of like the way that you use Proto Belt for the mobility, as the mobility of the Alistar going in, the cow smacking down the Tristana, getting the passive proc for the Kaisa, and she will pick up the kill with the W and the auto attack. Kaisa getting another one, and she has a CS lead, she has a kill lead, and she's looking to extend it even more as they're chasing down the Sona now. Hot 12, by the way, looking for his life, as it is not going to matter. Alistar flash pulverized, and there's another kill going over to Teoni. Now Chewie up in the top lane again, not learning his lesson.
Chewie wants to go for it again, but KR shoots him in the face and he has to walk away. But wow, that was 2 kills going into Teoni in the bot lane. Amateur Middley really showing that he knows what's up in this lane. He really understands the damage he can put out at this point. He knows that they're far ahead. Oh, but Zarkos going in.
Yeah, Zarkos in the mid lane now. Surtsu looking to turn it around. CWL getting ignited, getting very low. No mana to actually use that ultimate even if he wanted to, but gonna escape with his life unless he mispositions a little bit. No, Surtsu doesn't have summoners up. He has flash. He's fine.
Yeah, CWL didn't burn flash there, and Surtsu burned both his flash and ignite to try and get the kill on CWL, and CWL had no mana.
Oh, invaded by Chewie here. Now looking to make up for his previous misplays. Zarkos getting really low. A bit of a lag coming out from my client.
The Elastic Sling Shot just gonna throw him away at that point, so nothing really coming of that.
Yeah, nice escape from Zarkos. Not even having to use any summoners or, you know, well, he's level 5, so he wouldn't be able to ulti out, but nice escape nevertheless.
Yeah, the stun could have been paused for a little bit so that he could have tried to stop the Elastic Sling Shot, but he just decided to try and go for it. Ooh, missing the cannon. Pretty big miss there with the new changes to how cannon minions work and lane minions work. Missing a cannon is like god awful now. You just can't miss them because there's so much more gold than they were before.
Oh.
And all the other minions are less.
Now hold on, action in the bot lane popping up. 12 by the way, getting hit by that W proc, and it is going to do so much damage with that passive. Just annihilating that health. Oh my gosh, that second skin, the Kai'Sa passive does so much, and that is exactly why this champion is just extremely strong right now. Now looking to go back in, Jujavon getting the flash burn to get out of there, but Kai'Sa getting almost getting the passive proc off. Still a lot of damage on this Tristana.
Zarkos is down here. He could
Yeah.
try and go over the wall for an engage.
However, Jui's on the backside. This could be a counter gank, and this might be not what they're looking for, as they are going to engage in. Cheoni does still have the ulti. Does actually ult forward, maybe a little too aggressively. Doesn't get the kill on the Haha 12, by the way. Ignite is dropped onto Cheoni, but it is not going to matter, as he's going to pick up a kill onto Jujavon, it looks like, in a second.
Yeah.
And yeah, that kill does come through. Now looking to chase down, actually getting a double kill.
Oh.
Looking to make it a triple kill. Zarkos now getting his passive pop, and that is, if they wanted to, gonna go over to the Skarner. Not bad at all. Teoni, such a humble, sharing, caring teammate, saying, I have 5 kills, you know, buddy, you can have 1.
I would personally, I would have been mad at Jui for taking that kill there. That was an 80 carry when you're already 5-0. It's good to just get another kill to be even stronger. Skarner doesn't really need that kill. You kind of fall off in the late game, whereas 80
Well, true, but
carries.
he is a little behind the curve. If he can stay ahead of the Zac, he can get a lot more control and
very true.
influence the other lanes, maybe. Now, look at this
Ooh.
other lane in the top lane, the flash forward, the ultimate coming out, but not enough damage.
Oh!
Not getting a feast, and tower taken in the bot lane. First brick going down, and that is a 4k gold lead for the side of Helpless Kittens. Again, coming out swinging. Now Jujavon getting really low again. Teoni, no mana though, has to be a little bit cautious. And Amateur Middley without the ultimate, without the flash, gonna just make sure his ADC's out, and they're probably gonna reset.
Teoni doesn't have any mana here, wasn't able to use any abilities, so not able to get the kill on Javon, but still pushes him away. He just has so much damage and so much life steal from that Bam Scepter. So pushing him out of the lane is going to be really good.
Yeah. Another thing I want to touch on real fast. Teoni was on the opposite side of this, Kai'Sa pick last game, and had a CS advantage. This game, double Jujavon CS currently on this Kai'Sa pick. 501 against the, the 020 Tristana, and 88 CS to 49. This is just Teoni going crazy on this pick. And, I think last game it was a bit closer because Jujavon had this Kai'Sa. I think Teoni has shown complete dominance in this role and seems to be wanting to put his team on his back. I mean, if you look at Sertu in the mid lane too, goes for that Shurelya's. It does help the Vladimir a lot, having that mobility, that movement speed. Getting that gap closing, getting to stick onto the Veigar is very good for him. But it also kind of doubles up as a team item, right? The Shurelya's is obviously meant for team play. And so with that, he can proc that, use the Shurelya's, speed his Skarner, speed his Alistar in there, get that engage, and then they're all going to be CC'd, which is going to allow Kai'Sa to ult anywhere she wants to, and then pick off any targets she wants, with the amount of safety she has, especially with that Death Stance pickup, and the ultimate giving her so much shielding right now.
That's very true. I do give you credit for calling out that Shurelya's pickup. Good call on you for that, and so that does really well for him. I had considered that in the first place, so good on you for making me seem like a great color caster. But anyway, we see that CS lead from in the bot lane is just so impactful here, where Jujavon is still trying to roam to this top lane, isn't really able to get anything, doesn't even have a full item yet, where Teoni is sitting on a full
Oh,
Death
look at
Stance.
Zac engage in the top lane. The Let's Bounce going on to the Alistar. Gonna have to see if he gets away, as there's a bit of a lag again. And Alistar is directly into the tower, using the Unstoppable though. And he is gonna try to get out with his life, but not quite gonna be able to pick up the kill. And Teoni actually turns it around, gets the kill onto Zarkos. Now the whole team is here. They do finally get a kill on the Alistar, but it does not matter, as Jujavon gets completely annihilated. Kill going over to Jui again. Now the Shurelya is being popped. Sertsu saying, no one escapes after they kill my cow. I'm gonna milk you now, Sona. Get over here. Running after her.
What? I mean, Sona's gonna get away because it's Sona, but you're gonna what?
As we turn our attention to the top lane, tower goes down. Teoni picking that one up again, and the gold lead even widening further now. 6k difference for these teams, as Helpless Kittens are just taking complete dominance, showing no signs of remorse whatsoever, or Greg or Creg.
Poor Greg and Creg right now. They can feel the gold lead from last game and this game, and they feel like they're going to be relying on another throw again, but I'm not sure that's going to happen with Taonia playing the way he is. He's 6-0-2 on this Kai'Sa. He did get a little hyphy there, but he didn't even get really low. Oh, but he's behind CWL right now.
And just completely deletes him. Surtsu going in and just using everything. Goodbye to that Veigar. Gonna miss you, buddy. Oh, Taoni a little bit low in this mid lane, but Amateur Middle gonna peel for him. And Jui is on the side here. Doesn't have flash or ulti or anything quite so, but might have the Predator, so we're gonna have to wait and see as I'm lagging again. Oh,
Professor Oak likely gonna go down.
Professor Oak. And the Rift Herald is in the mid lane. There's everything going on across the entire map. And that's actually causing a lot of mayhem for the side of the Kai'Sa W, almost deleting the Sona.
That was so much damage coming out. Holy cow. That
And
passive
that's
being
why the
procced.
Nashor's Tooth is so good. Because if you get that W upgrade, you're going to be doing even more. And Javon doesn't even... He's gone. Bye-bye. Taoni picking up another one. And this is just... Oh my lord. These team comps, it just... You can feel the difference of all these top-of-the-meta picks. The Kai'Sa, the Skarner, you know, the Vladimir, and even to a lesser extent, the Alistar and Cho'Gath also being so dominant. And then in the mid lane, you know, you have the Veigar on the other side who's just not showing up too much. Jui a little bit in a sticky situation though, and actually gets deleted by the Veigar ultimate as we mentioned him. Now Amateur Middle hopping the Unbreakable, trying to get out. Haha 12 by the way, chasing down on the Sona, trying to get a little bit bloodthirsty. Starts you queuing the wrong target, and Taoni jumping in now, and out of mana however. Does get the passive proc, dropping that health a little bit low, but looking to disengage.
Yeah, that was Jui just getting a little too far forward. We saw that in the last game multiple times where he took one step too far, and Greg and Creg were able to capitalize on that every time it happened. And so he stepped forward to try and grab that tower after he needed a few more hits, just died for it. Kind of a mistake on his part, but Professor Oak able to match.
Oh, look at Professor Oak here, doing a lot of damage on the KRR1. I think Professor Oak is going to lose this out. He has the Unbreakable, but it's just not that valuable. Oh my. You know, I think Professor Oak still should have went for the Grasp. Personally, I think I would have liked to see that.
I do agree he should have gone for Grasp. Getting that extra HP is going to be vitally important. Stealing some from your opponent as well. And Aftershock is only useful for a very short period of time. After that, it goes on cooldown, and it's done. It's over, and you don't get a
Grasp
whole lot.
damage. Yeah, Grasp does so much damage with Cho'Gath. It has a health scaling ratio, you know?
Yep.
If you have the Cho'Gath with Grasp, you will be dealing so much damage, and I think that he'd actually be able to run down KRR1 right now. So
Yeah.
I think it's you know, it's not really to steal the health away or the sustain for the Cho'Gath so
Yeah.
much, as it is just dealing massive amounts of damage. And I think that's really where Cho'Gath is losing out here. Is if he had that damage, I think he would have actually been able to run down KRR1 there, forcing out at least the flash,
Yep.
if not, you know, getting a kill potentially. So
I agree.
a bit questionable choices in some of these runes / itemizations, but still, however, very well played on the entirety of the team from Helpless Kittens, and making up for any kind of questionable things they might be doing.
Yeah, they really have good macro play and good team fighting, but they did not take that mid lane turret down, so it's still going to be up for a little while to come. And that provides a point of pressure for Greg and Craig to play around. So they, at this point, they understand that Helpless Kittens is going to want to try and push that down as much as they can to try and grab that up for themselves. So they kind of have two options. They can either kind of call the bluff of it. Oh, never mind. I'm going to stop talking now because that entire point is now moot because turrets or the minions took it. So anyway, you
The
say
minions called the bluff.
something. Yes, they did.
Yeah. And
So,
look at
yeah.
KRR1 here. This positioning. Is he? No, he's just waiting for the Cho'Gath to go away. I'm not sure if KRR1 is scared of the Cho'Gath or he wants to scare the Cho'Gath. This GP matchup is a bit interesting because he has the Triforce, but with the Cho'Gath getting an ulti stack there on that that Cloud Drake, he gets his first non-minion stack. So this Cho'Gath not getting as many ulti stacks off of non-minions as he would like. He does have his 7th now though, and hopefully can keep getting them.
That is pretty solid for him. It means that he's going to be able to get, you know, that more HP, that extra damage, all that good stuff that Cho'Gath likes with his extra stacks. But
you know,
he needs
not
to start
having
getting
Grasp,
more.
He has so little damage. Look at this Cho. I mean, he's still gonna do a decent chunk, right? But imagine if he had Grasp right here. Like, just imagine. This GP would be 25% HP, if not less. He'd be in ulti range right now. He doesn't have ulti, obviously, but this Cho'Gath's still winning it out, hitting the Q, getting very low though. The true damage coming from the GP's passive, and it's just so sad to watch. Like, Cho'Gath should be just eating this GP right now. Literally.
Yeah, pretty much. The feast was not up, so he didn't really commit to that. So I feel like in a few seconds he's going to try and commit to a fight or something, but we're not sure how that would have fared. We know that grass would have been better in this matchup. He would have had more damage, more sustain, more everything that he wanted.
Yeah,
the only thing that
maybe,
Aftershock gives is the resistances and some AoE damage, but you don't even really care about that as Cho'Gath. You want to burst out the one person and then literally be a meat sack in the front line. That's all you want to do on Cho'Gath, and he's not doing that right now.
Yeah, I mean, he still is fairly tanky, about 3,000 HPs at this point, and picking up more as we speak, although picking up less as he's going for a Blasting Wand, getting some AP itemization there. Maybe going for some Munchie Cho'Gath time, looking to eat up that GP, getting a little more side lane priority.
He might be going for a Rod of Ages, which is a possibility. I'm not
It's
sure
so
I
late,
agree.
though.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree.
And he already has the Catalyst item on the Abyssal Mask.
That's very true. So it might not be a Roa, but even so, I'm not really a fan of going AP on Cho'Gath. You just want to go straight tank and let your base damages do the work, especially with your feast. You can just play around that and do a lot of damage with that, and the more HP you get, the more it does. So.
Well, I think that we're gonna have to watch out for this Veigar because he got hit by a W and Peony does a lot of damage. It will be disengaged, but oh, look at this positioning. Zarkos behind Jui. A little bit of a pinch here onto that jungle, but it's not going to do much. Tower is being sieged down here by the Kaisa.
Yeah, but between KR and CWL, they have so much minion wave pressure. The barrels and the W coming out from Veigar just clear out minions so easily. So, oh, gonna go in here.
Yeah, and Veigar not really wave clearing minions, looking for a fight. The Sona ult comes out not connecting, I believe, but mid lane engage going down. Now the Vladimir going very aggressive, using the ultimate, but not going to commit too hard. And a bit of a wasted Vladimir ult potentially, but a very good pulverize coming out from Amateur immediately. Now the knockup connects only onto the Sona though, and maybe a bit of an overcommitment from that Alistar. After a great engage, no follow-up, now looking their attention towards this Zac. The GP ultimate does come out, and that is a cannon barrage wailing on people as another Cannoneer jumps in. Tristana going into that backline, picks up a kill, gets the reset on her W. We're gonna have to see where she goes afterwards, but Kaisa going very deep, just deleting people. 1 kill, 2 kill, looking for the triple, and does get it. That is CWL going down to secure the triple kill for Tyone, and this Kaisa is just going crazy. They do finally pick up that Cho'Gath, but Jujavon, was it really worth it when your team is getting deleted?
They ended up doing a 3-for-3, which honestly is probably worth it for GNC at this point. When
It was a 3-for-2.
No, it was
Oh
a
no,
3-for-3.
sorry, Alistar was killed at the start, correct?
It was a 3-for-3, so they ended up trading, and the 80 carries grabbing the kills up, but that means Javon is still not gonna be as impactful as Taoni is, but Surtsu, you're going to KR here in the top lane.
Oh, look, this Shirley is coming out. Now we're looking to run down KRRT, dropping the aggro, and it's actually on the Kaisa now, has to watch out, but the W is gonna connect and just drop that health bar yet again. Taoni picking up another one, 1103 on this Kaisa, and just going crazy.
This is kind of a terrifying 80 carry at this point. Kaisa being 11-0, he's probably gonna be able to go back and grab another big item. I personally would not want to be playing against this at this point.
She's sitting on 3,500 gold right now.
Picked up.
She can pick up almost any item in the game.
Picked up
without
4 kills.
building any components.
That was
Yeah.
4 kills in that
Alright,
fight.
what are you gonna
so
call here for the Kaisa?
I'm gonna call Nasher's Tooth.
Okay. Alright. 4 seconds until the moment of truth.
Oh my God, Hurricane. Hurricane was
Oh.
my next
Yeah.
guess.
I can see that one. That gets her the E upgrade, and it also gets her a lot of, a recurve bow. That's
Might be going
a
for a Blade Lord.
Bork or a Wit's End.
Yeah, those are the only 2 options at that point, considering you already have the Gwinsus.
The
So
Runons. They're the Gwinsus, yes, correct. That's...
interesting.
I would have liked to see the... I mean, we already saw how much damage that W was doing and how valuable it was to her.
Yeah, you need
I
an
feel
Ashes
like-
at this point.
I feel like, yeah, a Nashor's is very nice to have here, especially because
Oh,
extra
the starting
CR2.
Baron. Without
Oh.
any other carries.
Without Taoni, yeah, Taoni can melt this Baron, but doing it without him is just so questionable.
Oh, they
And
do have
you gotta
Surtsu here
wonder-
now.
Yeah, they do have the Vladimir damage, but look, it's still dropping so low. And Kaisa would just melt this. It would have been dead 10 seconds ago if Kaisa were here, right?
Oh, the ward
So-
didn't go over the wall.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
They don't know
It's
that
not
Baron
spotted,
started.
but- Yeah, Baron debuff is applied to Alistar though, so they should know, and Kaisa's gonna get it with the W. If you had Nashers, would have been more.
Exactly. So, the Baron picked up for Team Helpless Kittens, and Dragon's going to be up in 10 seconds as well. They might rotate over and grab that, but Surds do so much damage on this Vladimir at this point.
Yeah, it is in a cage though, so has to be a little bit careful. Uses the Hemo Plague, now going to pop the Shirelli, is looking aggressive. Skarner running in, Alistar also just running in there super fast. Cow with speedy,
Ooh.
has the Mobies, has the Righteous Glory. Gonna get over that wall, and oh, the Flash being used by Star 2, but does eventually pick up the kill on CWL. And now Ocean Drake available, Baron up for all the members, and a bit of a siege going down. Kaisa up in this top side as I can't see anything again, and Spectator Client loves me. Kaisa getting a kill just out of nowhere, just deleted by GP, and gets his second kill. Just make it 3. Why not? Teoni just
That's gonna be
destroying
game.
health bars.
That's gonna be game. It's a 4 for 0 in the top lane, but Teoni looking like she wants even more kills. I don't know about that when you could have ended the game. You're going for the double inhib, I get it, but that's 20-second death timers. You could have gotten at least a Nexus tower, but they're gonna
They're
potentially
still
try
looking for the
to.
Nexus Tower though, yeah. Focusing that top Nexus Tower, getting really low. Jui tanking up, has to be a little careful with his HP, but it doesn't matter. Javon dead, haha 12 by the way, just respawning. The Let's Bounce dragging 2 members into the Nexus though, and that is actually, or the Fountain, correct, excuse me, as I stand corrected, getting the health bar deleted, Professor Oak going down, and that's actually going to save the base, that Zac ulti.
Yeah, a little bit of BM coming out from Helpless Kittens. They're trying not to end the game. They could have just taken that top and ended the game off of that top wave, but they didn't decide not to go for it. They decided to try and get the mid too, but Taylor gonna try and grab that bot inner turret while he's out and about, but GNC, the Zarkos, saving the base for now at the very least. Oh boy, that was rough. Like the Cho'Gath going down, Amateur Middle not getting any fountain damage on himself, but Cho'Gath just getting absolutely melted by the fountain. Now, that's one thing we haven't mentioned in most games, is that the most powerful enemy in every game is the fountain. So if you can manage to get your enemy to your fountain, they just die.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And you know, both these teams have the potential to do that with the Alistar who can flash, pulverize into headbutt, as well as the Skarner, very obvious with the Impale. And then the Zac showing us there, the Let's Bounce. You know, that is a very, very diverse strategy that you can use that could potentially save your game, and it did happen right here. So, very good utilization of all their resources. Oh, but Teoni just deleting people, and that's just going to run through the entire base, and I don't know if your spectator did what mine did, but that is just game. Teoni just winning the game, just ending it, saying, yeah, this is my game, bye-bye. Picking up that win end and taking the win.
Yeah, that's a 2-0 for Helpless Kittens. They're taking a match win at this point, and so good job on them. GNC, you know what you have to work on, and step 1 is banning Kaisa, and step 2 is banning something that the enemy is clearly comfortable on in the Alistar. So sure, your coach is going to have a lot to talk about in that game. It's always good to get this experience of show matches. And on the topic of show matches, do we have more this weekend, Meowing Cat?
Yeah, and so we will get into that. I'm not in Iberia, so my plugs aren't as great, but while he's out, I will be taking over for him. So, if you all enjoyed the show match today, make sure to join the Discord and look in our announcements channel, as we have 2 more show matches this week, with one show match at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time today, and tomorrow another one at 3 p.m., same time as this one started. So, you guys make sure to keep an eye out for that one. If you enjoyed, make sure to also follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, Facebook. As well, if you're a HOTS fan, we do have a HOTS Discord, which you can also find in the stream description. And with that, I'm Lamia and Cat, joined by Penguin God. I hope you enjoyed your stream, as we did here. Thank you all for watching, and from Learning Fives, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.